Hi, everyone. I'm Paula Kone, the host of Chatting with the Experts, and I'm back again with my guest. If you've listened to the podcast, so my guest is Edie Clarke, and she is my video expert. But we've, she's laughing. We've just finished recording, and she said something in our podcast recording that resonated with me. And that is about having a positive mindset, or just, the mindset and how it affects us in everything that we do. I could relate to what she said. And I'm not sure how many of you have had a chance to listen to my two videos I have out on YouTube, which is Why I Am a Pioneer, and the other one was called Podcasting, Coaching, and Immigrant Mindsets, in which I mentioned that I was petrified of public speaking. You could put me in front one person, I could have one-on-ones, one-on-two, but if I had to talk to more than that, and especially if I had to stand on the stage, I would rather jump out of a plane than do that. So later on, I realized it had a lot to do with my mindset. And so when she mentioned that, as I said, it resonated with me. So I'm going to ask her again to elaborate on that a little bit, because it all stemmed from me talking about, what does she attribute to her success? And she said, that key word for me, mindset. So over to you, Edie.
I had been in a very stressful situation at my last job and decided that I no longer wanted to work for anyone and be at their mercy. So I needed to figure out how I could work for myself. So when I started my business, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what kind of services I was going to offer, and I didn't know who my clients were going to be. And so because I think part of it was that I kind of started out of a little bit desperation, it just put me in a position where I was very unsure of myself. And I ended up putting up a lot of blocks that probably existed already. I just didn't notice them because I wasn't a solopreneur or working for myself. I was always under the cushion of knowing that I had a guaranteed check that was coming in every week. But when I started my business, it really put me in the spotlight of trying to figure out what I wanted to do and who I wanted to do it for. And so it really allowed me, or forced me, I should say, to do a lot of deep digging and really figuring out what kinds of services I wanted to offer and how I was going to offer those services and to whom I was going to offer them. And I remember I had hired a coach, and she sort of got me to recognize that video services was my best and most logical type of service to provide, because I was very passionate about it. And she was a firm believer in doing things that you loved and that you were passionate about. But because it wasn't in the package that I was used to seeing video, I immediately started to have self-doubt. And that's when I started to have mindset issues that I didn't identify as that because there wasn't a name that I could put on it. I could only name it as probably self-doubt and fear. And so as the years progressed, I kept pushing it down and not really addressing it and really dealing with it until it got to a point where I was, working. I was finding clients. That wasn't an issue, but I wasn't as successful as I could be because there were these roadblocks, and they then developed into imposter syndrome or things of that nature, the shiny object syndrome. All of those things were issues that I had as a result of not addressing the mindset issue that I needed. So I ended up getting a therapist, which I highly recommend. No one should ever feel like, oh, well, there has to be something wrong with me if I get a therapist. A therapist is a really good person that you can just talk out your problems to and have that person be a soundboard to sort of let you know that it is okay for you to feel and think the way that you're feeling and thinking. It's not this odd thing. So do what you need to do in order to get the help that you need to get. But once you address your mindset issues and you start to recognize what are the triggers, what are the things that cause you to go down that road of having self-doubt, of having this sort of imposter syndrome experience, and then you can stop it. You can recognize it. You can say, okay, I see that this is going to take me down this road. Let me think differently. Let me look at this differently. Let me react to things differently. One of my issues used to be that whenever I would come up with all of these brilliant ideas of things that I could do with my business, and they could be directly related to what I was doing or maybe an offshoot, but they were really good ideas because when I would mention them to other people, they were like, oh my God, that's a brilliant idea. But literally within moments of coming up with this idea, I'd start to create reasons why I couldn't do it. And so immediately that negative talk would then get me to the point of saying, oh, okay, well, I guess I can't do it because I don't have this, or because I'm not here, or because that person's going to say whatever it was that I thought in my mind they were going to say, instead of allowing myself to experience what would it be like if I actually did present that idea. And okay, if they said no, how would that feel? Would I die? Would the world collapse? No. Would I learn something from it? Probably. And then what if they said yes? How would that benefit me? And so once I started, and that I got through the help of working with a therapist. And once I got past that, I was able to sort of recognize those moments. And I still have those moments today. It's not something that goes away all of a sudden you're cured and you no longer have mindset issues. You're still dealing with it on a regular basis. The only difference is if I experience it, I notice it right away. I then apply whatever I need to in that moment to sort of switch my thinking, and then I'm able to successfully move on.
I agree. Because sometimes somebody just needs to hear that they're not the only one, to understand that, okay, there is help and I can seek that help. It's not that you're comparing yourself, but you're just looking to the person who has been able to overcome that obstacle that you're facing. That I love it. Well, thank you so much, Edie. Edie is, and I want to make sure that I give your business a shout out. You may be they're seen on screen, Edie Clarke, but you are the solopreneur owner of Virtually in Sync. Tell them a little bit about that. And I know, of course, they will hear a lot more about you on the podcast, but just tell us a little bit about Virtually in Sync.
Virtually in Sync is a service that I created back, 2012, 2013, to work with entrepreneurs who just feel overall stressed and overwhelmed by the process of creating videos for their business and then managing those videos on their YouTube channel. So I wanted to create an outlet where they're able to outsource those services to me and my team, where we can handle that for them so that they can focus on the things that they're really great at in their business, the money generating duties that they need to do on a day-to-day basis, which fits into their genius zone, and they can leave the stress and the overwhelm and the drain of creating videos for their business to me and my team. And so we've been doing this for a while, and we do this through remote video creation and YouTube channel management. So I remotely create videos for my clients and then manage their YouTube channels for them so that they can spend their time focused on their business and the revenue generating activities that their business requires.
So stay tuned, listeners and viewers, to hear a lot more about Edie Clarke, and you will be pleasantly surprised at how she became the successful woman entrepreneur that you see in front of you today. Thanks, Edie. And over and out. It's been my pleasure. I've learned so much. Bye.
You're welcome, Paula. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. All right. Bye.